Finally, the first hospital for African American patients and doctors was founded in 1862. Its name, Freedmen's Hospital, located in Washington, D.C. It was located on the grounds of Howard University and was the only federally funded healthcare facility for African Americans in the nation. It still exists today as Howard University Hospital, one of only 3 remaining traditional African American hospitals. Now, more African Americans were looking to be doctors, more than the existing medical schools would allow to be admitted. Subsequently, in order to serve the African American population looking to be providers, a few black colleges were established to provide medical training. The first of these was Howard University in 1868 in Washington, D.C., and the next was Meharry Medical College in 1876 in Nashville, Tennessee. Not surprisingly, they were established and controlled by white physicians and administrators, and as the population of physicians grew, the disparity of healthcare continued to grow. Finally, the first black-owned and operated hospital in the United States was established in 1891. The stimulus for this hospital is another extraordinary one. Her name is Emma Reynolds. She wanted to be a nurse, but she couldn't get admitted to any of the nursing colleges in the Chicago area. So her brother was Reverend Lewis Reynolds, who was a prominent minister in Chicago. He solicited a friend of his, a respected black surgeon by the name of Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, to go around to the nursing schools to see if he could get his sister admitted, but they refused. That was okay, because they got together, along with many young black ministers and physicians and businessmen in Chicago, and eventually their goal was to develop a nursing training center and hospital. And they did it. Its name, Providence Hospital and Training School in Chicago. Providence Hospital was the first non-segregated hospital in the United States. And upon the school's opening, Emma Reynolds was admitted, and she did indeed graduate as a nurse in 1893. But she wasn't done there. She had an aptitude to continue, and yes, she proceeded on to the Women's College, Medical College in Chicago, and eventually graduated with, yes, her MD doctorate degree in 1895. History documents that she had a very successful practice in Chicago, and then when she moved back to Michigan, and practiced successfully until she passed in 1917. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, who helped to found the Providence Hospital, he wasn't done there either. He furthered his career by becoming the first African American cardiologist and the first to perform a successful open heart surgery in 1893. Yes, Dr. Emma Reynolds and Dr. Daniel Hale Williams were extraordinary people. Black physicians wanted to lobby for more health care for the entire communities, but also involving the African American community. But they weren't allowed to join the All-White American Medical Association. So guess what? In 1985, they generated the National Medical Association, which did in fact go forward lobbying for better health care and greater opportunities in medicine for all Americans. History continues to document the extraordinary African Americans who played a role in advancing healthcare in the United States. And I'd like to tell you about another. Dr. Charles Richard Drew was born in 1904, final turn of the century again. He was a pioneer in the research for blood transfusions and storage. It was because of his work in learning how to make blood stored that allowed for blood transfusions, or preparations for transfusions, to be taken to the front lines of World War II. It's because of his research thousands of lives were saved in World War II. And it would be a daunting task to try to count the number of lives that have been saved up to this date because of his technology in blood transfusions. But he wasn't done there. He also became the first black surgeon selected to serve as an examiner on the American Board of Surgery. He was another extraordinary person. Have any of you heard of HeLa cells? That's HE, She went to be treated by her doctor, John Hopkins, who took a piece of her tumor without her knowledge. He sent it to the researchers down the hall, and nobody really knows why, but these cells never died. The researchers were able to make these cells multiply. They could freeze them and unfreeze them, make them multiply again. And this exact cell line was crucial in developing many things, including the polio vaccine. Eventually, the source of the cells was finally credited back to Henrietta Lacks, and the cells were renamed Gila in her name, in her honor. Even up to recent times, right here in Cleveland, look at the African American doctors and the hospital administrators. No doubt many of them have broken firsts. Some of you may know Dr. Maureen, who was the first African American female to complete cardiology fellowship at the Cleveland Clinic in 1988. As recent as 1988, we're still making firsts. We'll still be making firsts. We still have lots of firsts to make. Even in this room, I'm sure there are many of you who have broken barriers and been the first in your fields. So the scriptures say, without a vision, a man perish. The people I named were just a few people who had visions, and in fulfilling their visions, they became extraordinary people, advancing